Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Turbo Makes Games YouTube channel. I'm Johnny Turbo, and I'm joined by Matthew. Welcome in, Matthew. How you doing today? Oh, I cannot hear you. Did you mute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I got you.
Oh, okay, cool. I must have hit it on my microphone.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. Hi.
Welcome in. How
How
you
are you
doing
doing?
today?
I'm doing great.
Right on. Awesome. Awesome. Doing well myself. So yeah, Matthew is part of the Logic Project's YouTube channel, and I think as we go here, we're gonna get into a little bit more about kind of what he does and what we're gonna be doing this weekend. But yeah, welcome in everybody. Very excited to be doing this live stream here today. We're gonna be doing a really fun thing this weekend. So if you weren't aware already, the LudumDare Game Jam is taking place this weekend. So Matthew and I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of do a little bit of a collaboration here where well, I guess kind of we can get into a little bit here, but so Matthew over on his channel, which is called Logic Projects, he does a lot of things with the Bevy game engine. Is that right?
Yes, which is an ECS-based game engine written in Rust.
Nice, nice.
The
And
one
so,
sentence pitch.
nice. And so you do a lot of kind of similar things to what I do, right? Where you do kind of tutorials and different showcases and things like that, right?
Yeah, so originally I started out doing like series showing Bevy for absolute beginners, so like an 8-part series on an RPG or on a tower defense game. But for the past release cycle of Bevy, I've been doing a weekly devlog for a full-size project that I'm working on. Just trying to
Awesome.
show like high-level design of an ECS game.
Awesome, great
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, and of course, you've hearing the terms ECS. So if you're a regular viewer of the Turbo Makes Games channel, I'm sure you're definitely familiar with Unity's entity component system. So we thought it would be a fun idea for us to during this LudumDare Game Jam do a little bit of a friendly competition here, where basically we're going to come up with the idea for a game, and then we're both going to go off on our own and create that same game using our game engines of choice. So that's basically what we're doing here right now. We're going to be waiting around for about a little bit under an hour before the LudumDare Game Jam officially kicks off and the theme is announced. So then we're going to kind of go into our brainstorming process. We're going to go through that live, kind of figure out what type of game we want to make and all that. And then after that, it'll be off to the races, and we're going to be going to go ahead and create our game after that. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. I'm
Awesome.
excited.
I know it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time for sure.
I've
So
got the Ludum Dairy countdown pulled up, 56 minutes.
exciting times, exciting times. And yeah, of course, the LudumDare Game Jam is completely open to the public, so anyone is able to join in and participate on your own. Feel free to come hang out in the Turbo Mace Games Discord. We have a Game Jams channel in there where you can showcase your progress throughout the jam and all that. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much the main gist of what we're going to be doing this weekend. Is there anything you want to add to that at all?
No, it's just I'm excited to be here. I think it'll be pretty fun.
Awesome.
I think I might actually have the edge on you. I was watching some of you and Code Monkey's old
Oh,
dots tutorials, and I think Bevy might have you beat on some of the code ergonomics.
feeling bold here,
Yeah.
feeling bold.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can kind of maybe go into a little bit about some of the capabilities of and features of the Bevy engine and all that. So I know one thing that you had kind of mentioned to me a little while ago is that the Bevy engine doesn't actually have its own like editor interface. Is that right?
No, that's one place where you definitely have me beat is it's a, make your own tools kind of thing. So like for my current game that I'm working on, I have to make my own editor, but we have it's called the inspector, which gives you it feels kind of Unity-esque
Okay.
where you can edit some values live and tweak things, but it's not, we don't
A
have an
full,
animation
yeah,
or state machine or
application.
anything.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
We don't have shader graph. So, yeah, but it's
Nice.
coming soon. They are
Awesome.
constantly
Okay.
talking about the design of it. Everyone loves, that's the favorite topic, is to muse about what a good editor would look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So is the Bevy engine like completely open source?
it is. You can actually pull it up on GitHub.
Okay. Okay.
Um, it is. So most things in Rust are open source under MIT Apache licenses. It's a very open ecosystem. And what's really cool is Bevy's not just open source, it's also modular. So if you like some parts of it, you can rip out hunks of it. So people will use its ECS in Godot, and they're
Oh,
able
okay.
to,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
If you don't, because if you don't have like the Bevy rendering system is still, it's getting massive updates, but it's not a modern, you know, rendering system yet.
It's pretty basic as far as like, just like a mesh, and you can apply textures to it and stuff, but it's not has like
It's
really
it's beyond that. It has like physically based materials, ambient occlusion, atmospheric fog, but
the basic things
it's
that you
not
would
Godot 4.
expect, but it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't have like the
So
extra high definition type things and all that.
yeah. It
Nice.
definitely people have complaints about it, but it works great for me. Yeah.
Nice. And so, what types of games have you kind of like been making so far with the Bevy engine? Is there any particular types of games that excel or work better than others?
So yeah, any kind of game that you don't need to capitalize on the engine. So if your game is very like level layout and you need that 3D editor, I would not recommend it. But if you're more like roguelikes or
Maybe a little more
procedural
procedural,
generation,
yeah,
yeah,
where you're doing building
like
a lot of the stuff out in code anyways.
yeah, like Factorio, RimWorld, those kinds of games they don't get as much out of having the Unity editor, in my opinion. And
Gotcha.
especially if it's like Bevy is very, very performance driven, so you can get a whole lot out of it for those high end games.
Awesome. And are there any particular games that you enjoy making in the Bevy engine, or it's just kind of like whatever is kind of interesting you at the time?
Yeah, so I always try like I don't know if you know the game Space Station 13. Have you heard of that?
I don't think so, no.
No. Or like Dwarf Fortress kind of games.
Okay, yeah.
Like these really like highly simulated kind of games where it's very, very rich, where like every item has tons and tons of properties and unique
Mm,
interactions. And yeah,
okay,
those I
cool.
think they do very well with the entity component kind of layout because you just keep adding complexity forever, you know. So
Nice. And so, yeah, how do you feel that the whole entity component system, does that feel like pretty mature? Is that set up well? Is it easy to use?
oh,
What's kind of your
and
overall feel
Bevy,
on it?
it is perfect. I could not imagine
Nice.
a better ECS implementation.
Wow.
Like, are we doing a post show after the game jam
Yeah.
to show
I
our components?
figure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'll be shocked at how simple it is to set up some of the things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's
Looking forward
like
to it.
components are just struts, systems are just functions. They're very focused on the ergonomics, and I've already seen in the next version of Bevy they're trying to reduce the keystrokes just a little bit more to do stuff.
Nice. I feel like
Yeah.
Unity ECS is catching up with that a little bit, just kind of like making it easier to use and just simplifying a lot. I know they're taking advantage of a lot of code generation type stuff, so you don't have to do as much, but then the computer can kind of run some extra compilation steps and then to make the actual more efficient code and all that. So I think it's going in the right direction.
That's something that's very common in Rust. They call them derive macros,
Okay.
and you'll just like generate entire, basically implementations of interfaces. So to make something a component, I just put derive component, or to make it a material, I make it derive material, and that just implements the entire interface.
Nice.
So
I think something just
yeah.
fell off your wall there.
Yeah, we just put the poster up 5 minutes ago, so it might not make it 2 hours.
Nice. It's a good poster though.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Awesome. Well, I guess to kind of start maybe kicking around some ideas for the jam. Have you? Well, actually, let me check in chat here and see if there's anything. What possible challenges you're hoping to see given particular ECS strengths and weaknesses? Are there anything particular comes to mind for that, or is there anything that I don't know? Because you've done a couple game jams with Rust before, and what's kind of
Yeah,
your been experience with creating a project with Rust and Bevy in a quick kind of compact couple day window?
it's pretty fast actually. again, it's very minimal in how much you need to type. So it's just, how fast can I design and write something out? You know,
Okay, nice.
it's, I guess some of the challenges are I want to build this for web to run in the browser. And every
Gotcha.
time there's just one weird thing that's off. So,
Well, that
yeah.
is one area that you for sure already have me beat. Is unfortunately I can't do WebGL builds right now with Unity ECS. So
You can't?
nope.
Oh, tragic.
I
Okay.
know. I feel like WebGL builds are kind of the yeah. I mean, for something like a game jam, you always want to have a WebGL build just because it's doesn't require the user to download some sketchy program onto their computer or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is something that they I think want to have, but with multi-threading with WebGL and doing
Yeah.
compiling things down to C++ with the burst compiler and all that, it's
Mhm.
not probably
Yeah.
not the easiest task.
Yeah. I actually think Bevy and web does not run in parallel. I think it gets pushed down to single threaded. Don't quote me on that, but it sounds right.
Makes sense.
I even have an automated GitHub CI script that will automatically upload a web build to itch.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
week for
I
my
saw in
project.
your I think your last video you did that, right?
Yeah, I set it up. So now every week I just do a git tag and GitHub will build the project and upload it for me, which is
Nice.
very nice.
Awesome. Well, actually, let's see. If you could just take a quick second to maybe just chat about some other things about the Bevy game engine. I'm just gonna send a message out to the Discord just to let people know that we're live here. I do see that we already have a few viewers in here, but
Sure.
definitely
I
kind of
actually
the more the merrier.
recognize in chat we have MDR, who is somebody from my Discord,
Oh,
who was at
nice.
some of my live streams when I could do them a
Awesome.
while ago.
Awesome. Glad to
Yeah.
see some of your viewers here as
Um,
well. But yeah, make sure
yeah.
y'all go check out the Logic Project's YouTube channel. I have his channel kind of linked in the title and the description. But yeah, it's definitely a good resource for the Bevy engine.
I guess I can talk about Rust for a second
Go
because
for
the
it. Yeah.
programming language is part of the selling point of Bevy, which feels weird to say. But Rust is really nice for a game engine because it's so easy to do things in parallel. Basically, the way they have it set up at a language level is everything has one owner and only one thing can mutate at a time. And that works out to make it where you never have problems with like data races and stuff.
Is that the
So all Rust
whole
code,
like
hmm?
borrower checker thing or whatever it's called?
Yeah, the borrow checker they call it. So you have these strict at compile time enforced, rules on how data can move, and that means that every code you write can be run in parallel. So I can take like a library that somebody wrote on their first weekend of learning Rust and safely put it into my project, run it across 20 threads, and I have no fears that I'm going to get those exotic bugs you get
Wow. Wow.
from parallel things. So I think that's part of why a lot of people are excited about Rust for game dev, and Bevy definitely capitalizes on that.
Are there any sort of restrictions on like the data types that you can use in Rust and all that? Because I know with Unity ECS, you can't use like managed data types. So those would be kind of like more complex classes where you don't necessarily know what the size of that class might be at runtime. So it's kind of more simple unmanaged types. Just your regular integers, floating point numbers,
Yeah.
booleans, that kind of thing.
No, we don't have any limitations, but so the Rust type system actually marks if things are not safe to be run in parallel.
Mm.
So if you do happen, like I was doing something where I was trying to play a video file and it was calling into a C library that would not work at all in parallel. And so when you try to start using that in your project, it will, complain at compile time and tell you that you need to run this only on a single thread. But
Gotcha.
there's
Gotcha.
there's no big limitations unless it's coming from outside.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. I did a voxel game, like a Minecraft multiplayer game,
Okay.
and eventually you can just you fight with it a little bit, but you can get anything to run in parallel if you wrap it in enough. They call them asynchronous reference counted basically like a smart pointer, if you know C++. And so the point is for you to just trust. If it compiles, it works.
Fair.
Great. Yeah.
Nice. So what is kind of the experience of like developing 3D type games? Because I know you had kind of mentioned that, again, there's not really a level editor, and I think I saw in your previous game jam that you did that you actually had to like import like a text file for all your level layouts and everything. So
Yeah.
is it again kind of more programmatically that you have to build things out for 3D things like a voxel game?
So for a voxel game, I was doing it like full procedural generation. So it was yeah. I would generate the mesh the same way you do it in Unity, honestly. But you need to define your own scene file. Like Bevy has some built-in saving and loading of scenes, but it's not perfect yet, to be gentle. So you have to often, roll your own like JSON file that has your level format and load it in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, so yeah, maybe start talking. I guess actually, here's an interesting question. Would you say the Bevy community is kind of very niche? What's kind of the Bevy community been like in your experience?
So it's very small. Like you quickly learn the names and faces when you're, going around on GitHub. You're like, oh, I've talked to this person when you're opening issues on GitHub. But it's a very, very welcoming community. It's very, younger developers, very wholesome, inclusive. Yeah. Their Discord is one of the nicest Discords I've ever been in. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'll give that a shout out. If you want to learn Bevy,
Games Discord, by the way.
yeah. But if you want to learn Bevy, apart from my Discord also, the Bevy official Discord is the place to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And as far as like Rust in general, how have you been kind of a part of their community at all, or interacted with any people in their community?
Yeah.
How's that kind of all been?
So I've interacted a little bit. Like I've done some machine learning work. This past week, I did some hardware design work with Rust, and Rust has somewhat of a bad reputation. It's also very inclusive and welcoming.
Okay.
But it sometimes can be a little elitist. And there's definitely people working against that. But it does. There are some pockets that are still a little, too high and mighty for my taste.
Fair. Because what's that guy, the Primogen, right? Doesn't he use Rust quite a bit and kind of promotes it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of the biggest spokesmen of it.
Yeah. He seems to.
But he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's not one of the ones I'm upset with.
No, he seems cool for sure.
There's also John Genset on YouTube he's an MIT. Yeah, he's an MIT PhD, and he does amazing like 3-hour live streams where he'll cover super advanced topics in a great level of detail.
Wow. Yeah. As far as like the syntax of Rust, what kind of languages do you find it is most similar to?
It's basically C++, pretty much. Yeah. If you're the cool thing about Rust is the compiler error messages are so nice that people joke that you can type Python into it and the compiler will tell you how to change it into valid Rust. But yeah. It's cool. Sometimes you can get yourself into a bad corner where you have horrible syntax where things are wrapped in way too many types, but if you keep it simple, it'll be nice to you.
Just start with good programming practices and just keep it up and you won't have any issues.
Well, yeah, and resist the urge to overcomplicate your solutions. It's definitely very tempting to get in there and, over-engineer something, but you can make a miserable project if you do that.
Well, you can do that in any programming language or framework.
But Rust will make you feel smart while you're doing it. Yeah.
Fair enough. See, Luke's in here. Welcome in, Luke. Good to see you. LudumDare jam site, it says it's not working for Macs. Let me see if I can refresh here. Seems to be working for me.
Yeah,
although that's kind of
counting down.
That's kind of the I guess the I don't want to say the meme, but it kind of is like the LudumDare site is not really the best, and it always kind of goes down at the beginning of the jam and at the end of the jam. So the most reliable place to get the theme is the LudumDare Twitter page for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just trust that you'll read it out to me as soon as it's posted.
I'm gonna hide the theme from you. No, no, no.
Yeah, do it.
So yeah, I guess kind of speaking of themes, they basically, because the way LudumDare works is they post the there's kind of like a voting round where they post like all the different kind of like top options, and you can kind of vote on them. So I guess we can kind of do this live here. We'll go through just kind of the list of all the themes, and then we'll showcase the ones that we picked here. So let me see. Do this.
Yeah, I still don't know what you voted for.
All right. Well, so yeah, they're up on the screen right now. I'm just going to go ahead and just read through all the different options. So the themes this year are, well, the final round of themes are delivery, cartography, shelter, leave something behind, parasite, the wrong tool for the job, ascend, your health bar is more than just a health bar, salvage, strange machines, signal, limited visibility, it spreads, clear a path, every input does two things, and start small. So for the viewers who can see right now on the screen, I did a +1 of 3 of them, and -1 on all the other ones. I don't know, not a whole lot of these were speaking to me here, but the ones I +1'd were cartography, parasite, and clear a path. So I did cartography just because that was just like, I don't know, it just seemed like the most interesting theme, although if that actually is the winning theme, I have no idea what game that I would want to end up making with it.
Yeah, that one sounds weird to me.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of left it because I appreciated it. I think it was a different and interesting theme that I think could make you kind of think a little bit. So we'll leave it for now. Parasite, I think there's just, some kind of interesting game mechanics that you could probably do with a parasite thing. And then clear a path. I figure if we're making something, crazy with the entity component system and all that, maybe there's some way that we can clear a path through a bunch of entities and all that. So then Matthew, you sent me your list here, so I'm gonna get this pulled up on screen right now.
I did. I voted for Ascend, Strange Machines, It Spreads, Clear a Path, and Start Small.
Nice. Yep. So the only overlapping one that we had was Clear a Path.
Yeah, and I can't explain any of them. I just kind of went with my gut. Yeah,
those are the ones that are not the worst. So speaking of, I feel like so many times when I've participated in these LudumDare game jams, I'm like, okay, this one theme is the actual worst one, and then it ends up being the final theme. So are there any ones in here that stand out to you where you're like, I would be so mad if this was the end theme?
The wrong tool for the job. I have seen so many game jams that have basically that exact theme, and I just never think it gives you like good results.
Fair. Yeah.
It's
because I mean, if it's the wrong tool for the job, then it's not the right tool for the job.
Yeah. No, I don't like themes where you could explain it away with just like story or something, or just like a reskin and art. I want it to be like mechanically rich,
Yeah, just, figure out some way that you can actually tie it into the gameplay mechanics. Yeah.
Which, I'm not the best at, but that's what I strive to be, is to tie it in.
Yeah, I feel like I always try to like maybe take like a funny or a literal take on what the theme is. There was one that I'm still particularly proud of where the theme was running out of space. And so you figure like the main kind of go-to option that it would be is like, maybe there's kind of like some room and you're like filling it up with some like items, then it just kind of like fills up the room and then you kind of end up like running out of space over time. But I took a
Yeah.
literal approach on the theme where you were like literally in space and you're a guy trying to run to the edge of the universe to literally run out of
Oh,
space.
yeah. That's hilarious. That's
So,
pretty good.
yeah, I just like doing funny things like that. But let me see. If I had to pick one that's the worst, so I definitely don't like the ones where it's like a limitation on mechanics. Like your health bar is more than just a health bar, or every
Oh,
input
yeah.
does two things. Because it's not really a theme. That's like a rule.
Yeah. Yeah, every input does two things might be the worst. I might change my answer.
Well, and that's the theme that we're getting, I'm sure.
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking, is everyone just changed their votes over.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
No, and yeah, it's always funny because like what they'll usually do on the Twitter is they'll announce the theme and then like a couple minutes later they'll show all the results and how many people voted for each category and all that.
Cool.
So yeah, those are the themes. Did you have any like? I feel like a lot of times when I'm getting ready for one of these game jams, like I kind of start maybe kicking around some theme ideas in my head or like some game ideas in my head. Has there been anything particular that has been on your mind recently? I definitely have something, but I want to hear.
No, you go first. You just hit me with a hard question.
Okay, fair enough. That's just kind of how I roll with these game jams. If I
Yeah.
know I'm like gonna be participating in one, I like maybe think of like some interesting game or some game mechanic like the week before, and like I mean obviously it's more of just kind of like a general thing because when the theme is announced it could kind of change and adapt. But
Of course.
yeah. So how familiar are you with the game Vampire Survivors?
I'm not at all.
Really?
Yeah. No, you have to give me the pitch.
So it's you should look it up. There's actually a demo version on itch. So if you want to like play it a little bit, if we end up going with something like this, to kind of get an idea of the mechanics. But basically, actually, you know what? I'll pull up a video of it on stream just so if I'm talking about it here. Vampire Survivors gameplay.
Yeah, I've got it up on Steam, and
Okay,
I
this
see why this
could be
makes
bad.
the ECS part of your brain itch.
Yep. So yeah, definitely lots of enemies moving around and all that. Go full screen on this here if I can. So yeah, basically the idea of this is it's actually the attacks happen automatically. So all the player
Okay.
does is move around, and so the attacks are basically all kind of like timer based. And then what happens is you attack the enemies, and most of the time, but not all the time, they will drop one of those little crystals that you'll see, one of like the blue little crystals, and then you have to kind of like circle back. And when you pick up that crystal, it adds to your experience bar. And then every time you level up, you get one of three choices of what upgrade to pick. And so these upgrades could give you new weapons. They could level up your existing weapon. They could give you just regular buffs and things like that. And so it's of course kind of random about what types of upgrades you get and all that. But yeah, I've been having fun playing it recently, and I think it would be kind of like a fun kind of thing to do. And it's also just like super easy for like a jam game for like people to play, because it's just like pick up and play. You just kind of move around. You don't need to really learn any complex inputs or anything like that. But so that's kind of what's been on my mind recently.
So I've actually been thinking about mechanics for the game I'm doing for my weekly videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have it where as you play the game, your character gets weaker, and that's how the game gets harder.
Okay.
So like it'd be the same kind of thing there, but instead of when you pick up an item, you get a new ability, you have to pick which one to get rid of.
Yeah. Okay.
Would that be interesting? Yeah. So like you
I did
start
something
out
kind of
immune to
similar.
all the attacks. Yeah.
I did something kind of similar to that. I think it was like the first game jam I ever did. It was a LudumDare one, and the theme was running out of power, and you were basically played as like a really old superhero who was like losing his powers, and like yeah, basically after every level you had to pick which of your powers got a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
So that could be a
That
fun
could
thing.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
could be a
just
fun twist on it.
I like the idea of the game not just getting artificially more difficult. That it's like, it's not just, oh, there's double the enemies now. But, yeah.
Or in this case, double, quadruple, quintuple the enemies.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So that's kind of the initial thought that I was thinking, and of course, like depending on what the theme ends up being, we can um, figure out how we want to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's a good question. What's the plan for art and sound? So I'm planning on us doing the because there's the compo section of the jam and the jam section of the jam. So the jam section of the jam is where you can use any art that you basically have access to, the legal rights to use and all that. So yeah, we're gonna be doing the jam section, and we do have 72 hours, so it basically finishes Monday night. So do you have any kind of plans for the art? Do you have any kind of art that you're planning on using? Are you gonna use any AI art or anything like that?
Oh, so yeah, we both do use like Stable Diffusion to make
Yeah,
art.
yeah, I've used some Stable Diffusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can do that. We're planning on sharing art, right? We're not, or are you going to keep some secret from me?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter. I hadn't really considered that. I was just kind of like, just kind of use whatever. But
Okay. Well, I've been addicted to using Kenny's art.
oh yeah, yeah, his stuff's
No,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's sometimes hard to pin that to an idea once you've already had it.
sure.
So I don't know. Usually for game jams, I can get my wife in to make art, but only in like the last 6 hours.
There
I
you
can
go.
hit her with the guilt trip and get her to come in and
I need help. I need
draft
help.
something.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard to balance because you don't want to have the idea before the art if you're not making it, because then you have to like search and find like, oh, where's this perfect zombie? But you also don't want to be constrained in the brainstorming by what art you have.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, for
it's
sure.
a balance. Do you have any like assets you're planning on using?
Not really. Again, I mean, if we were gonna do something like simple, like obviously the Vampire Survivors, it's not anything too crazy. I think I could use some AI for some things, or even just pop into Photoshop and just make some fun, silly little cartoony type things. So,
Yeah. Are we doing 2D or 3D?
um,
Or is it too early to tell?
I mean, I don't really have a preference at this time.
Okay.
How about you? I mean,
I feel like 2D is always just significantly easier because you
yeah,
just don't have
yeah,
that
I'm cool with
extra
2D.
dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I was even considering if we were gonna do something, yeah, 2D and maybe a little more sprite based. I know there is a library called N Sprites that I've been wanting to check out, which is it's you kind of use it in conjunction with the entity component system. It's supposed to be able to display a lot of sprites on the screen at one time. So if we did something like that, then yeah, maybe I'd try it out.
Oh, I don't want to back you into the corner of using experimental things for you.
No. This is something that I wanted to check out anyways, and it seems to
Okay.
be. I know other people have been using it with good success. So
Yeah. I've been trying to get better at my own pixel art, but it's not my skill set, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So,
and yeah. Plus, yeah, it can probably be a little bit more difficult to source 3D assets during a game jam than 2D assets. So yeah, I'm cool with doing 2D.
cool.
So let's see. I'm gonna check in what's going on chat here.
Yeah, I'm
talk
also
about
trying to
ML
read it.
agents. um, let's see. All right. Well, cool. Is anyone else going to be participating in the LudumDare this weekend? I know I saw some people said that they were not, but I don't know. I want to see if anybody else is participating here, but I think it'll be a fun time for sure. Let's see, what other things could we kind of talk about? We still have about 25 minutes until the theme is announced. Yeah, and then I think, basically the plan is once the theme is announced, we're going to kind of go ahead, go through a little brainstorming session, kind of figure out the game that we're going to be making. Again, Matthew's going to be creating the game on his own using the Bevy game engine. I'm going to be creating the same basically game using Unity's entity component system. And then at the end, we're going to kind of compare the results and see what we end up coming up with. Also, I was planning on maybe just like once a day, like tomorrow, like once tomorrow and once on Sunday kind of thing. Just do a little quick check-in stream to kind of like showcase what I've been working on. You're of course welcome to join if you want, but
yeah, I can join in.
All right, that sounds fun to me. I figure maybe like tomorrow we could do like something tomorrow early afternoon. I feel like because tonight's probably going to be a lot of just setting everything up, maybe getting some of the basic mechanics in place, and then tomorrow morning be able to kind of actually start building a little bit of things out. So hopefully by tomorrow afternoon I'll have something that'll be in a good place to kind of showcase.
Yeah, I might not.
Just because, you'd be building out building out tools still.
I'll have white squares moving around on a screen by then, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I would have as well, so.
Okay. I'm very interested to see which tool is faster.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to kind of see.
Go on.
I was just gonna say it'd be interesting to see, like how quickly, if ones can get into something a little bit quicker, and then as things progress, how things go. So yeah, I think the check-in streams could be fun.
I originally gave you like heavy odds just because Unity has so many features. But as I was watching, I was watching your tutorials today to get up to speed on Unity dots.
Do a little research on me, huh?
Well, I wanted to know, your vocab. I wanted to be in your world.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be that fast for you. It looks like it's not meant for high speed development. It seems like it's more, professional, slow optimizations.
Well, I'd say I do also have the advantage of what do you use for your code editor?
VS Code.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I use JetBrains Writer. They've recently added in a bunch of kind of little like shortcuts and things that can kind of automate some of that code creation. And they also have a lot of tools kind of built in there where I've kind of built out custom things that basically kind of automate the code creation process. So, that's helpful with the development speed, but it mostly just kind of like puts out like a template. Like if I want to say create a system, like it'll just put all like the main parts of a system, and I still gotta like write the code and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with Unity ECS, there's definitely like a lot of little scripts that you end up having. So like if you just want to like have something do something, right, you're gonna have to have like a data component, at least one data component, sometimes multiple data components, and each one of those are going to be in their own class file. And then if you want to have like an actually do something, then you'll have a system that kind of builds it out. And then if you want to actually add those to entities, then you're either going to have another system that adds them to entities, or you're going to have to create like a baker to add those to entities. So it definitely ends up being a lot of little scripts. Is that kind of similar to Bevy, or is it a little more streamlined than that?
I don't want to break your heart, but if you pulled up the Bevy example page and looked at like their ECS example, it's a component is just a strut that has values in it. A system is just a function.
How components are as well.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, but like there's no baker, there's no authoring,
Well, so yeah, the baker and authoring, that's kind of like a bridge to allow you to like edit the values inside the existing Unity engine. and kind of do those in the ECS world and all that.
Yeah, but I was going through and I wrote down like notes of how everything translates, and basically every single feature in Unity dots translated to something much, much smaller in Bevy. Like even our what you'd call aspects
Uh-huh.
are just struts that just have the, you know,
That's nice.
bundle
Yeah.
of components.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aspects are a
And
little, I don't know. They're
yeah.
helpful, but I think they could be streamlined a little bit for sure.
Yeah. It's just, the guy who makes Bevy, like the I guess benevolent dictator is what you'd call him, is he's very, very focused on the ergonomics and getting rid of all of the boilerplate and extra characters you have to type. Yeah.
Nice. Is it like but it's not like so extreme where it's like Python or like Ruby or something where you don't have to have like braces or semicolons and all that.
He if he could, he would, you know. He's got it down about as minimum as you can get it and still call it Rust. So
That's funny.
it's even like you have to do ref RO and we just do an ampersand, and your
Sounds
ref
nice.
RW is ampersand mute. Yeah. So it should be, I'm hoping it should be faster for me. And I'm just competing against your, the feature richness of the engine. When I have to roll my own particle system, we'll see how I feel.
Well, even then, ECS doesn't have its own particle system. I have to use Unity's particle system and then like attach that to a game object and like synchronize that. So again, just a couple extra steps I got to do.
So I guess for the rules for you, are you only going to use dots when it makes sense to use dots? Or are you going to try to be like aggressive in how much you use dots?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty much going to use dots for everything unless there's
Okay.
a particular feature that I can't use dots for. Because that's just like, that's honestly easiest is to just you do as much as I can in ECS.
Really? So this is, I guess, an honest question for you then. It's like if you had the player in the vampire game, you do that single entity in dots as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
because
I'd imagine
and
you
there's
do that
also
as a
like
game
a lot
object.
of well, I mean, it's like maybe if I wanted to do some things with the visuals, I could do that for a game object, but especially because like I'm going to be using the dots physics system for all this stuff, and if I the main player is going to need a dots physics component, or else the two physics systems don't really talk to each other.
So I guess that's something I don't have to deal with, is that there's not two engines underneath me.
Two engines in one. Two for the price of one.
Yeah. Interesting.
Indeed.
Have you done many like full projects in dots? Like how many like game jam size projects would you say you've done?
So I've done like 3, I think, game jam projects, maybe 2 or 3. There was one that I tried to do like literally the first weekend after Unity ECS was released, and I ran into so many problems. Or when Unity ECS 1.0 was released, I ran into so many problems because like I could have done it with the old one, but I wanted to play with the new stuff, and the editor crashed on me like 35 times or something ridiculous.
The benefit of not having an editor. I don't have anything that can crash.
Fair.
But you think dots is pretty stable now, though, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because so it's the 2022 version of Unity is going to get its long-term support release within the next couple weeks or months here. And when that happens, then Unity ECS is going to be, like an officially supported package. Like it technically is right now, where you can get kind of support through official channels, but they still label it as a pre-release package. But when the long-term support of the 2022 version comes out, it's going to be officially built in to Unity. You can just download it right away without adding a preview package.
do you predict there'll ever be a point in the future where everyone just uses dots by default, or always just be a little bit harder than game objects?
I don't think that's necessarily a goal that they're trying to go for.
Okay.
I know one thing that they've kind of talked about a lot is like bringing a lot of the kind of power of dots to other features of Unity, but you wouldn't necessarily know that you're even using dots. Like everything just kind of works the same, but under the hood,
Okay.
it does things kind of more
That
efficiently and all
seems
that.
to, yeah. So the performance experts can write the good code and then hand it off to the more artist inclined game devs.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Because there is that distinction. I guess that's something else is Bevy is very much a programmer's engine right now.
Seems
If
like
you're
it.
yeah, if you're more on the like artist side of game dev and programming is something you've picked up, I would not recommend it right now. But
Fair.
Unity, I feel like you could definitely open up as an artist and, make something cool.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about Unity, and it's always kind of been like that, where they call it the like object component model rather than like a full entity component system, where you basically have the game objects, and you can kind of add in different components that basically add features, and because the components are easy to add, pretty much anyone can do it, and you don't have to go to the program and say, hey, can you add this particular feature to the player or whatever.
So how do you feel about like ECS design? Does it come natural to you at this point?
At this point, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I feel like it's actually a better way to make games. I think
I agree.
everyone always
100%.
says that,
Heck yeah.
yeah, like object oriented, they claim that's how you think, but I think you actually originally think about games in a much more ECS kind of approach.
Why do you say that?
Well, because like you imagine like a player is having components. I think when they describe object oriented, they're describing components and systems being the functionality. I don't think there's as hard a line between them from a design perspective.
That makes sense.
People
Yeah.
would like to make out, And that's like what you were saying is Unity's game objects are already basically an ECS design. It's just not getting the performance out of the,
Right.
data-oriented part.
Yeah. And actually, this would be a nice little segue just to real quickly just plug my talk that I'm going to be doing at Jason Wyman's Game Dev Guild conference next week. So the title of my talk is Modular Data-Oriented Design. So, rather than focusing on all the performance aspects of data-oriented design, which is awesome, by the way, I'm kind of focusing on more, how by going with data-oriented design, you basically get a modular framework for free. So you can easily add and remove components to add and remove functionality on your entities. Or the other side of that is you can say enable or disable particular systems to have different behaviors going at any given time. So that separation from the data, from the logic, just lends itself perfectly for just making your code a lot more modular. So I'm showcasing a couple cool things on there. I'm going to go ahead and get the link to the Game Dev Guild. By the way, you can sign up with coupon code TURBO20 for 20% off your purchase price there.
Nice.
But yeah,
will that talk be public after or always paywall?
I think it's going to be exclusive. There's some restrictions on exclusivity. I'm not sure if I'll be able to post it afterwards or not. But yeah, so the talk is pre-recorded, so I already have it done and submitted and everything, and it's a really good talk. I'm super happy with it. But there is going to be a live Q&A after the talk goes live. So
cool.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, there is so there's a free Monday. Yeah, Monday there's a free day. Yeah, see if you can it sounds like someone maybe is having some issues with the 1-day pass. See if you can reach out to any of the conference organizers. I'm not sure exactly on how that one will all go. There also is a student pass, which is a little bit cheaper, and that gets you into the talks and the Q&As, but it doesn't get you into like the virtual conference hall, and you don't get the extra bonuses. I think you can get like a Unity Pro license, JetBrains Rider license, bunch of other like random cool assets and stuff on there. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a good time for sure.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah,
Jason seems like a great dude.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, super nice guy, super, yeah, just down to earth, good guy. And
Yeah.
yeah, the conference last year was super fun. I did a talk there as well, and because it was the first time that he did this conference, it was just really cool. The virtual meeting space was great. Got to a lot of meet cool people there, talk about games and everything. And yeah, it's going to be even bigger this year. It's a couple days longer. Lots of good talks. The Unity CEO is giving a live Q&A during there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think all the talks will be posted again. There again is some restrictions on exclusivity, but I know last year, because Unity sponsored a couple talks last year, they ended up posting those live a couple weeks later. And so I know some Unity employees are giving a couple talks. So obviously, John Riccatello, the CEO of Unity, is going to be doing the live Q&A. And there's a couple other talks from Unity people. So I'm not sure those may go live later.
Cool. Yeah, on the topic of modularity, that's one of the things that people love about Bevy.
Yeah.
Is that everything is a plugin. So like I don't use Bevy's built-in audio. I think it's just not complete. And you just rip out the audio and plug in your own one from the community. And it's all, open source up and down the stack. So they definitely get a lot out of the modularness of ECS designs.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. You remove a component and
You
then
don't
that
like
system
something,
just doesn't run.
rip it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be very interested to hear how that works on the Unity world. So, good talk.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to it going live. So yeah, we have a little bit under 8 minutes here until the theme is announced.
Cool.
Any other ideas for games or things that you'd like to do in the jam at all?
No, I'm actually coming into this one pretty much a blank slate. I was playing Wild Frost. Have you seen it? The new roguelike deck builder kind of game.
Look it up real quick.
It looks like Slay the Spire. I could just say Slay the Spire and it'd be the same. I was playing that on the Switch the other day, so that's been kind of on my mind.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
I also like Inscription, so a deck builder feels very game jammy, but it might also be overdone as a genre.
Yeah, I feel like you'll definitely see a lot of kind of deck builder card game mechanics, thrown into different games during the jams.
So I've noticed you like for your ECS games to have a ton of entities. Like that's how you really like to show the performance. But I kind of take the opposite approach.
Okay.
Where I just make traditional games using the performance by default, to steal one of your phrases. And it's just nice. Like I was profiling my game the other day and everything runs in 1 microsecond.
Wow.
So my poor CPU is like at 0.01% utilization. So it's great for like battery life on mobile. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I don't always feel the urge to have 10,000 things running around on screen, but I know it makes for good showcases.
Have you done anything to kind of push it a little bit more with higher entity counts?
Not personally, no. It's, I mean, Bevy does like the stress test, and some people like to push it, but it's just, I don't know. I don't have any like game ideas where I'm like a massive horde would really add to it.
That's fair. Have you seen that game Humanity at all?
Nope.
It's gonna be coming out in a couple weeks here. I will pull this one up on stream as well.
Well, Humanity. Somehow the game did not beat out actual humanity. In the Google search.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I think this is like an awesome showcase of what like having large entity counts as like an interesting gameplay mechanic would be. So as you can see, you kind of play as this like little dog, and you like control these like large crowds of people.
Oh,
And yeah, so it's just like yeah, controlling them, and there's all sorts of crazy game mechanics you can get into. And I'm just watching the main trailer right now, and as this trailer goes on, there's just all kinds of like ridiculous stuff that ends up happening, and it is just like really wild. So I think it's just like super interesting to start thinking about how to actually use large numbers of entities to make interesting gameplay mechanics. Like it's an interesting design challenge to me.
yeah. I guess it is like an interesting problem. It's just not one that ever has spoke to me personally.
That's
You know?
fair. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would definitely, I think for this jam, that might be something we should really use because that's our edge in LudumDare is we're both coming at it with a
Yeah,
high
yeah, yeah.
performance
Yeah.
tool.
Exactly. I think that sounds fun. So
Hmm.
okay. Let's see.
Are you pulling up their Twitter?
Yeah, I will pull up their Twitter here. Okay. So just a couple minutes left here.
Cool.
Yeah, welcome in everybody to the stream here. Hope you've been enjoying it so far, as we're just kind of like hanging out, just chatting about our game engines a little bit. If you have been, make sure you hit that like button so we get likes on the video. Yeah, make sure you go check out the Logic Project's YouTube channel. Again, he does a lot of stuff with the Bevy game engine on there, so keep you all up to date on that. And if you want to learn some of their entity component system options, check it out.
Except not my video from today. Don't start there because that has nothing to do with game dev.
I didn't see the video that you put up from today.
I didn't want to do Bevy all week, so I did hardware. I did a second hobby of mine. And I did
Okay.
a 20-minute video about hardware design, and it's very much not related to game dev. So I treated myself before I write nothing
Oh,
but
hardware
Bevy for
design interests.
72
Okay.
hours. Yeah. So
Nice.
might not have been the best marketing to put up an unrelated video an hour before showing up.
Okay. 2 minutes. Getting close.
Have you ever done LudumDare before?
I have. I've done
Yeah, okay.
a good amount of them. Or not a crazy, maybe like 5 or so.
That's a pretty good amount.
It's a good amount.
I think
yeah.
that's more than there have been since I learned how to do game dev.
So let's see. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow.
Okay.
So this will be
You
big
have the
number 8.
experience on me.
Lucky number 8. Yeah. So yeah, I guess just I'd say probably kind of high level target time frames for everything. I feel like, again, today is going to be a lot of setup, maybe getting some basic mechanics in, again, things moving around on screen. Saturday is going to be a good day where you can start, really implementing your core mechanics, getting those kind of locked in. Sunday will be a good day to kind of build out more of the content, start adding in more of the art and more features and everything. And then Monday is kind of polish, making sure you can get it actually running, where you want it to deploy and all that. So yeah.
I always say that at the beginning, but
that's
very
again,
hard to
that's ideal.
stay on the schedule.
That's again ideal. And then it's all of a sudden it's a Monday night and I still have gray boxes running around.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
10,
go to for web and it
9,
crashes.
8, 7, 6,
6,
5,
5.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy LudumDare. Delivery. Okay. That was one that I was not expect. That one was not on the radar for good or bad at all for me. Just straight up delivery.
You were right about Twitter hitting it and not their website.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Right, delivery.
so delivery is the theme. What are we going to be delivering? We're going to be delivering some awesome games. That's for sure.
Oh man. Okay. So first thought is of course like 10,000 packages or like 10,000 envelopes falling from the sky. What's popping into my head?
Sokoban. Let's just remake Death Stranding.
Hell yeah. Oh man. Oh, the website's completely gone. Features
Yeah.
unavailable.
Yeah, their website.
Oops.
That's interesting. I refreshed it. It had the theme. Every time I refresh it, it flips back and forth between having the theme and not. But anyways, yeah. So delivery. Okay. So I mean, the game idea I had, which was doing like a Vampire Survivors type thing. I mean, does that appeal to you at all? Like, is that gameplay interesting to you at all, or?
Yeah. I like the gameplay. I just don't know how we tie it in to the theme.
Yeah. So let's see. What could we be doing? Is there any way that we could like twist it so instead of attacking enemies, we're doing something else?
Giving them pizzas.
Giving them pizzas.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving them pizzas, and then they drop little coins as tips, right?
Yeah.
And then you pick up the coins, and then once you get to a certain money level, that's kind of how you level up, and then you can purchase a new upgrade.
Or you're fighting through the zombies to try to get somewhere to deliver a package.
Okay, so you actually
So
kind of have like a destination of some place that you're trying to get.
Yeah. I kind of like your idea better of
Just
you're
shooting
actually
out pizzas.
delivering to the hordes. Yeah.
Let's see what people are saying in the chat here. So
yeah, we can actually steal some ideas. People are giving us some.
Outsource it. Yeah, here we go. So what about take my money meme when someone sees an exciting game trailer? Okay.
Okay.
The what's it, the Futurama meme?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Delivery, service delivery, latency.
Yeah, I was thinking that like
email. A massive relay network. Massive delivery logistics network. Yeah, let's build a massive logistics delivery network in the course of a weekend. let's rebuild FedEx.
No, let's go like Amazon. Yeah, you have your Amazon warehouse and you're sending out thousands of Amazon vans to all the houses. Like one of those, the ones where you design like a metro for the train system.
Okay.
You draw the routes.
You make like conveyor belts and stuff, and
yeah. I don't think I'd actually enjoy working on that though.
Yeah.
But it's an
interesting idea, but what if you deliver supplies per pizza to the horde that is attacking the vampire survivor? I think that's kind of what we were thinking, right?
Yeah.
Not Amazon delivery drones.
Yeah. Okay. And then like you can get the pizzas from like a giant like pizza truck or something that you hit and like 1,000 pizzas spill out. I'm just trying to like visualize different scenarios.
Kind of get like your pizza ammo. Well, so the way that Vampire Survivors works is there's like different like types of attacks. So like some of them are like they'll attack in the direction that you're facing. Some of them just attack in a random direction. Some of them attack like the closest enemy. Some just like hit a random spot on the screen. So like if instead of just throwing out pizzas, that could be kind of the base attack, if you will. But like what other kinds of abilities could we give to the player?
So I was thinking toppings for pizzas, and different zombies could want different toppings, or vampires or whatever they are.
I
Yeah.
think the thing about the just is a total aside, but I think the thing about Vampire Survivors is there's actually no vampires in the game.
Oh, okay. Fair. Yeah, you somehow hit the like one game that I've never heard of, and people have already pinged me on Discord telling me I
Like
absolutely should
what?
know it. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh man. And he just closed out the LudumDare website. It's just crashing on its own now. It's making me sad. Um, but no, I'd like the idea of at least like your power-ups being different pizza toppings. I'm kind of now emotionally invested in the pizza theme.
Yeah, the pizza theme, I dig that for sure.
I'm worried it might be a little too like canonical. Like everyone seeing delivery might think DiGiorno's.
Fair,
So,
fair.
but nothing wrong with that. I'm sure we can find pizza game art too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a in the judging for Ludum Dare, there's all the different categories, and there is a humor category that I always like to try and do really well in. So I feel like doing something silly with pizza. You're feeding these hangry zombies.
Oh, okay. So what would you feed pizza? That would be funny. Like seagulls or something.
Just all kinds of like different animals, rats, and
Oh, rats could be fun. You're like you're in New York or something, and you steal pizzas and you
yeah,
feed them to the rats. You're the rat king.
furries.
No.
Nah. Deliver pizza to the lesser pizza places.
Let's see.
Because yeah, I mean, I guess there's, if we want to have some type of enemy variety, they're gonna have kind of like different speeds and different strength values or hunger values, I guess, where you gotta feed some of them more pizzas than others.
I kind of actually really like the idea of different enemies would want different toppings on their pizza. So in Vampire Survivor, how do you choose what you attack? Is it like on a cycle
It's
between
it's
your different
all
attacks?
just it's all automatic. So you basically like
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
everything's like each attack has its own like timer on it basically. So like say this attack attacks every 1 second, this attack attacks every 2.5 seconds, and then it all just happens automatically.
So what if we did that, but I'm imagining this being like a rapid fire, overwhelming thing. But like your pizzas are scrolling up on the side, and you see like, oh, I have 10 pepperonis coming up, so I need to aim at the people who want pepperoni. And then like,
Mm.
I see sausage peaches are coming up in the queue, and so I need to start aiming over to the right. Does that sound interesting?
I kind of just like the simplicity of just like not necessarily having to worry about different like type
Okay.
matchups, if you will,
Okay. Sure.
because that would be like just like another thing that we'd have to kind of like figure out how to convey across to the player, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Um,
Because yeah, in Vampire Survivors, I mean, again, we don't necessarily have to like make this all beat for beat Vampire Survivors, Pizza Survivors,
we'll
or
see.
something.
I don't know Vampire Survivors, so I can't actually clone it
Fair. Well, I mean,
right now.
pull it up on itch.
I get
There's
the
a
gist.
there's a
Yeah.
demo of it, but I'd recommend
Oh, I'll
playing it.
totally be playing it tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will.
there's quick it's quick iteration times for the
Yeah.
things, but I mean, yeah, it's basically just like there's not like physical attacks and magic attacks. Like they all are basically
Yeah.
just attacks, right?
Twin sword. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
They all just kind of deal damage, but some of them are like area attacks, and some of them are just like straight, like it'll hit the first enemy kind of thing, and yeah.
okay, so how do you want to map that onto pizzas? I guess is the ultimate question.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I wonder if we just like basically do the same thing, but like all the sprites are just kind of pizza themed. So I mean, kind of like you were saying, we could have different toppings, and we could like you could like upgrade the pepperoni path, and like the pepperoni path is like maybe like a giant pepperoni just like falls onto like a random part of the map, right?
That's funny. I like that.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And we could have like
Mm.
it shoot out little like sausages or something, right?
Yeah. The sausage just a rapid fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Vampire Survivors does not look like the most appealing game, but it's just it's pure dopamine, and it's just the ultimate like that one more level type game, one more round.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of it being like very hectic and high speed, you know. The
Yeah. Yeah, and I think again for a game jam, it's like you want to be like just get in, get out type thing, right?
yeah. You only get 2 minutes of playtime out of people.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll come up with some compelling enough games where people want to like play a couple rounds.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking of that so far?
I'm trying to read through chat, see what people have.
Call of Duty.
So what if we? So I'm actually listening to this, Justin. What if we pivoted off of Vampire Survivor and we table that as one idea?
Yeah.
What would be a
I'm down to
second
come
idea?
up with like multiple ideas here.
I'm not rejecting it, but just so we have
No, I agree.
something to compare.
Yeah, just so we aren't just locked in on the first idea that we come up with. Okay, so do we want
if we
to
did something like mail?
Yeah,
or
do we
like
want to do
Amazon?
completely something like not pizza related, but more just kind of like, well, okay, so how about this? You said pizza was kind of the obvious option, but I guess like kind of mail and delivering packages, that would probably be the other
That's
obvious
also
option,
pretty
right?
canonical.
So
I mean,
what is
delivery
yeah
babies?
what is there babies? Yeah, what are there other kind of like things that we could do that might be like a literal or a funny take on the theme?
All right, I'm gonna do something criminal, and I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Don't judge me.
And then while you're doing that, I also just real quickly want to show the here's the results for the LudumDare voting. So delivery, again, number one theme, that ended up having a total of plus 501 votes. The only other theme that was positive, which had 140 net result votes, was start small. The rest were all negative, and I think a lot of people agreed with us. The worst theme with minus 957. Every input does two things.
Yeah, that's miserable.
So let's see. Parasite and cartography were pretty low, and clear path was like kind of upper middle.
Okay.
All right, so what does ChatGPT have to say about making a game about delivery?
All right, it's verbose, so I won't read it all. But we have delivery disaster, which is getting a package through a city, but obstacles get in your way. We had a postman panic, where you're a postman trying to go to a bunch of different places, and it looks like it's like, remember like Crazy Taxi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that's what it's invoking.
Postman panic.
Pizza party, but the catch is every customer has a specific topping. It's, whatever. Courier chaos, where you have to go around the world delivering packages, but you're afraid of flying and must travel by boat, train, and car. And so you have to navigate different modes of transportation. And delivery dilemma, where you must deliver a package to a location, but the location changes every time you get close. Okay.
That just seems really annoying. You're like,
yeah,
you're almost there.
Your
GPS is rerouting.
Yeah. They cancel the order. I like the Crazy Taxi kind of ideas. If you're in a, driving through a city and like
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
keep walking out in front of you, and you know.
I feel like if we're doing a crazy taxi thing, I would probably want to do that in 3D though. Like that just seems like a
Yeah.
little bit more like it would just kind of lend itself better to a 3D aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's also very, I guess, physics engine heavy, which is not my specialty personally.
Is there kind of a built-in physics engine or a physics module you can add in rather?
Yeah, there's a very professional one called Rapier Physics that I
Okay.
use, but I don't want to say bad things about them, but it's a younger prototype. So I would not
Fair.
want to build a taxi game in it.
Let's see. Use pizza to lead zombies to traps. Prevent the mobs from delivering something. Okay, that could be an interesting twist. Rather than you being the deliverer, you're trying to hinder people who are delivering things.
All right, you're the dog from that dog controlled people game,
Ah.
and you're just like stopping every postman from getting to where he's going. That could be actually really interesting if you just had like a dozen postmen and they all have the place you're trying to get to, and you're just running around barking
Just
at them,
trying
trying to
to,
chase them back.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
be interesting. I'm trying to think how that would kind of work. Like, because I mean, if you're like a dog, you can only run so far or fast, and it's like,
Yeah,
how
good
do you have
point.
to get in the way of a bunch of different postmen? That is a funny
Control
idea,
a
though.
swarm of dogs. Yeah, I don't know.
Swarm of dogs. Delivering a speech.
I
Put
like that.
Osmosis Jones route where the character is a delivery system for some kind of medicine. Okay,
I like that. Yeah.
it's a good movie. Haven't seen that in a while,
To
but
admit,
it's a fun
I
one.
think human chat might be better than ChatGPT.
ChatGPT had some good titles for games.
Yeah, I like its titles.
Delivering cute zombies, but you have to be fast enough or they eat you. Kind of like Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
A game about giving birth. Postman versus zombies. Everything just always comes back to zombies, doesn't it?
I know all games are zombies. You know, I actually don't like delivery as a theme. The more I
Okay,
think about it,
here's another thing that they do for LudumDare is they'll kind of give a couple pictures of delivering or a delivery. So the pictures they have are one, a newborn baby, two, there's a bird eating a cat eating a bird. I don't know how that's delivery. Maybe the cat is delivering a, a bird to the doorstep
yeah,
of
I
its
don't know.
owner. I've heard of cats that do that.
Yeah.
A semi truck transporting an aquarium of sharks, and Kermit the Frog delivering a postcard to a mailbox.
So, you know how people say like crows, you can train them to like bring you shiny objects and stuff?
I don't know.
You
I've
do
never heard
something.
this.
No, might be an old internet myth, but you could like befriend crows and they'll bring you like gum wrappers and shiny things. I'm sure someone in chat will tell me if that's real or not. But so I'm thinking like you'd have like a horde of crows that you're training to go out and steal from the local people. Like you're some kind of like witch up on the mountainside, and it's Untitled Goose Game style. You're trying to, you know, inconvenience the town people.
Well, we have a couple
I don't
people who are confirming your claim there.
know. Oh, good. I'm not a lunatic.
So, what would be kind of the mechanics? How would you like interact with the crows? How do you train them?
Mm-mm. No, I hadn't got that far. I was just envisioning crows. Let's see.
Um, hmm. Stop the pigeon. Yeah, what do you, let's see. Do you have any ideas for the the crow training one or
Have you ever heard of the IP over pigeon? I'm going to send you something crazy.
okay.
This is one of those April Fool's like internet protocols, and somebody had created a protocol where you could send IP packets using pigeons,
Okay, well, I'll have
and
pull
they
this up on
actually ran
stream here.
a ping test with a pigeon, and they
IP
found a
over pigeon.
55% packet loss.
That's awesome.
So could you do something like you're
IP
like
over pigeon.
yeah, like you're sending emails, but you're doing it in a pre-electronic world. Over tons of carrier
You just got to
pigeons.
deal with potential
Packet loss.
packet loss, actual physical packet loss. IP over avian carrier. IPOAC. That's awesome.
Has a response time or a latency of 50 minutes to 100 minutes. Yeah.
Interesting. Because, yeah, it's like you kind of got to figure if you're doing something like that, how do you control something that you don't really have control over? How do you kind of direct something that may or may not do what you want it to do?
Yeah, that's the hard part is how do you turn that into a game, I guess? Or how do you train it?
Pigeons and crows racing to make deliveries.
Pigeons versus crows.
Tower defense game where towers kill zombies trying to deliver pizzas. Why can't they just be regular delivery people delivering
They
pizzas?
have to be zombies. You don't understand.
So we don't feel bad about killing them.
I hate to say it, but I think the Vampire Survivor game just reskinned with pizza.
I
Like
love
that just
it.
performed the best.
I
Yeah, I
love
think
it.
that's if I'm thinking about actual game that we would make that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think
That
like
sounds it.
the scope of it's not too big because again, it's just like because it's like the base mechanics should be pretty easy to make, but then it's just like we can just add as much complexity as we want.
Sure.
As much complexity as we have time for, I guess. As far as different abilities and upgrade paths and things like that.
So, what if we went the plan of we'll both start, I guess, cloning that more or less for the next day, and then tomorrow when we go live, we'll have something fun in front of us and hopefully a whole new set of ideas from the day.
Yeah. That sounds good to
Try
me.
to add and modify it.
Yeah, no, we can kind of start with that, getting like the base things in place, and as things start to come together, I'm sure we'll have more ideas about different topping abilities and all that.
And a good, a twist to make it our own. But I have no shame in starting out from something we know that works. And
Well, cool. I like that idea a lot.
Well, I know you do. It was yours.
Yeah. You brought in the pizza part of it, the pizza twist.
Yes, of course. I saw the word delivery and thought pizza.
Immediately.
How original.
That was you didn't skip a beat. You said pizza.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, do we just kind of start getting going on this now, or do we want to talk about anything else for now?
No, if you're ready to wrap up the show, then we can go off and start writing code. Or if you want to do some live, like sketching out of a design, it's your channel.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of ready to get into development a little bit here. And
Sure.
because yeah, I mean, again, it's gonna be just kind of core mechanics at the beginning, and then yeah, maybe tomorrow during our check-in stream we can kind of figure out different ideas for different abilities that we might want to both include or something like that.
Same time tomorrow?
We could probably do like a little earlier. I was thinking like early afternoon, maybe like there's like 1 p.m. Pacific. I think that'd be 2 p.m. for you.
2 for me? Sure. I guess I don't need to write it down. You'll message me.
Yeah. Sounds good
Yeah.
to me. Well, yeah. So I think that'll probably just wrap up our little stream here. So again,
I have to go and immediately play the game.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, get familiar with it a little bit. But yeah. So again, the idea of this whole thing is that we both kind of came up with this idea for this game that we want to make, and then I'm going to be developing it using Unity's entity component system. Matthew's going to be using the Bevy game engine here. We're both going to go off and create pizza survivors, I guess. Or
name pending.
yeah, name pending. And yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time. So yeah, we're probably going to just wrap up this stream here for now, and then yeah, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Again, 1 p.m. Pacific. After we end the stream here, I'll throw up another like live stream scheduler so you can see what that'll be in your time zone and all that. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us here today. I think it was a fun little kickoff stream. Definitely excited for this LudumDare, and I think this is going to be a really fun and silly game. I don't know, what are your kind of initial thoughts on it so far?
No, I'm very excited, and thanks for having me on. I'm
Yeah,
I'm excited to
absolutely.
get it done.
No, yeah, thanks for reaching out to do the kind of collaboration initially, and I think it's going to be a fun thing. So yeah.
Yeah. May the best engine win. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, well, thanks
Okay.
everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.